All right, I'm gonna make a quick video on ideas for like times drawn, like what I've been doing for months now. So with these new patterns in mine on the pick 3-4, if I don't see a color popping out, if I'm trying to play that gap, okay, like if I go to the recent here, it's not really showing me much. I mean, it's just not, and I'm trying to learn like which, color hits, or I mean, which number within a color hits the most and which is the most popular for Minnesota. Every state's a little bit different, but there are some, like I've said before, there are some key ones like 7 and 17. And I mean, look at that. They hit a lot. And remember, there's only like 4 numbers or 5 numbers in there. So you can go over to the pattern thing and look at that. So yeah, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So I'm still kind of new to my own pattern stuff here, but there are certain ones that hit a lot. And if I don't see a pattern in here, okay, what I will do is I will do a time period. Okay, and now what I used to do, and I still do sometimes, but I'm finding it easier to work it on this site with a little help. I was able to figure it out. But see, what I normally would do is I would go over to the lottery post, and I would go into here, and I'd pick my state. Now I'm doing time periods right now. I'll make another video on my V-tracks and other things I do. But right now I'm going to keep it as just the time periods. So what I do is I'll do, sometimes I'll do straight, but I'll do box, and I'll do single only. Sometimes I'll do just double, which I'll show you that later. And then I'll pick a time period. Okay. Now you can pick freaking all available history. You can pick 90 days. We can put the calendar in and pick all kinds of crazy days. But see, what I would do is I'd pick, let's say, 6 months, continue. Okay. Now from other videos, you know what I'm doing here. I go to last seen, and what I do is I pull according to this, not according to the combos, right? What I'm trying to do is create a pool that I'm going to fish out of for the next few days. Now on here, I would do that, but then what I would do is I would be like, okay, I think it's going to be a 2, because look at 2 still dominates with the 1, but look at that 2. That 2 hits a lot. Look at all those 2s. Okay. So if I think the 2 is going to hit, I mean, look at them all, right? And it hasn't hit now in a while. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's been 5 drawings. Now remember, this does not take into account doubles. So if a double hits, this just stays stagnant for a few days if the double hits. So that those doubles can come back and screw you. So I'm trying to learn how to filter over on the pick 3-4 site, how to filter double, or how to account for doubles, because I lost on a double today again because I really thought it was going to be a single in Minnesota, but that happens. So anyway, so what I would do is I would think it's a 2. I would go to the top, and then I would go down, and I would copy the 1s, right? Remember the 1s? I would copy all the 1s. Oops, sorry. Copy the 1s, right? You don't have to copy all that. All I'm trying to do is get this, right? So I copy the 1s because a 1 is going to turn into a 2, right? And look at that. That's a smaller pool. But then I would take it over to my notes, and I'd drop it into a time period, I call it, right? And I'd put when I took that time period, and then I would copy these, and I'd bring them over to the slasher or some other, sometimes lotto odds, sometimes a couple other things here I'll show you in a minute. I do the slasher, and I like to do this one here is the Master Number Studio, which I'm still trying to learn. There's so much on it. It's awesome. But this one here, I've liked this Pro Tools Crunch one too, which I'll show you. Very similar to like what I do at Lotto Odds. But anyway, so let me get back to what I was just talking about. So instead of doing this, now if you have Chrome extension, you can just copy these and you could do that, but it gets kind of frustrating. So what I've been doing, I'll show you. Over here, Mike, who owns the site, updated this. So now you can actually do it all in one page, which is really nice. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go to frequency here. Now, check this out. I have it unboxed. Okay. go all the way to the top, you put it unboxed. I'm going to do numbers, okay, all the way at the top. I'm going to do numbers, do Minnesota, pick 3. You can do pick 4 and everything. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do most recent drawn, and I'm going to do no sort. That's very important because now I'm going to do 6 months. So I'm just like over here at Lottery Post, okay? I'm doing the exact same thing, okay? Now, right now, actually, I have it on singles and doubles, which is interesting because it's actually kicking off something here pretty good, which is, I'm actually going to write this down because check this out. What I'm looking at is that 2. Okay, you got to pick something somewhere, right? So I'm looking at that 2. That 2 likes to hit every, let me look at it, every few days, every few draws. Minnesota is only a 1-draw state. But look at that, right? Look at those 2s. And like I said, once you get down to the bottom here, it's going to become still lots of 2s, but it's going to become more 1s. Okay, and then there's going to be the zeros. So if I think it's going to be a 2, which I'm thinking that's what I'm going to fish out of tomorrow, okay, what I will do then is I'll change this to options by occurrence and then just go right over to either one of these. I just like to do descending, and I think it's going to be a 2 tomorrow, right? So look what I'm going to do. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. And it also includes doubles. Boom. I'm going to copy the 1s, okay? So I'm going to copy those. See, I don't have to take them over to the notepad. I can put them in here, take all that out of there. So this is like an all-in-one deal. And I'm going to show you something that's really cool about this. Well, let me just show you now so I don't forget. You can actually do keys. You can do the front pair, the split, all right here. So you don't have to switch pages, which is really nice. Okay, so you see what I just did? I copied the 1s. That brought me down to 79 numbers boxed, including doubles, which I normally do not do because normally it will screw me. Like it won't look right. The pattern will be off. You don't normally have to do them. So remember, you gotta go to no sort. Now watch. I'm going to change this over to just singles, okay? And we'll see what happens. Look at 1, 1, 1, 1. These are times drawn, right? Okay, this is what we're looking at, times drawn, not the combination. Don't even care about that right now. 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. See that? See, what I'm doing is I'm just playing by occurrence. I'm just playing by times drawn. What's the one that's out the most? 2. Does 2 dominate at this time period? I don't know. I'd have to count them, but I think it's a mix between 2 and 1 still, right? But if you think it's going to be a 2 tomorrow, same thing. Even though it doesn't have doubles this time, you're going to go to options by occurrence, and you're going to go by either descending or ascending. And I'm going to copy those right there. And see, now it's only 48 numbers. Now, like I said, but I really like what I just did with the doubles because it actually included the doubles. Sure, it was more numbers, but it included doubles, which I always get screwed on, right? But since a double hit Minnesota tomorrow, I probably will just go with these singles, okay? So let me just copy the singles because I have a better inclination, I think, that it's going to be a single tomorrow. Okay, now, like I said, I could be wrong on that. You go look at it hit a double, then double. Do they hit back-to-back a lot? They can. They can. But you know what? I don't care. I'm going to go for a single. So what I would do is I will focus as much as I can. As you can tell, I have a million things open up here. I'm going to focus on these 48 numbers for the next few days in Minnesota, and I'm going to try to go for a win. I'm going to try to narrow these down now with pairs due, because remember, I always start. Well, first of all, I wanted to show this from Minnesota. Oh my gosh, that's going to hit. That might hit tomorrow for sure. CCL, curve line. Remember, this is boxed, so come anyway, but that really will reduce it. But I'm going to show you what I mean. I always start with keys out. So it's not really showing me much. I mean, maybe that 0. That 1, the lowest winning digits here are important to watch, okay? But then the pairs due. That's pairs box. That was the pairs box. And I'm watching that 37. I can't believe it's still out. 78, yeah, it's yellow, but I'm really interested in that one. But I'm interested in all three of these right now. Why? Because what the keys showed me, general keys, shows me that 8 is out. Wait, I'm sorry. I thought I seen a 7 out. So, but a 7 just hit. Okay, so there's a good chance that could be one of those ones that repeat. Because a lot of times, if you watch, you're going to notice a number, which you probably already noticed, that like the 6 carried up there, the 4 carried to the next one, nothing carried there, the 1 carried up. Let's see, nothing carried there, nothing carried there, the 7 carried up. Nothing carried there. The 1 carried up. The 8 carried up. See, a lot of times, if a draw or 2 goes by and nothing was carried over to the next draw, they'll probably a good chance of it. You know, I mean, look at they really like to jump up there. You know, it's kind of nice with a 1 draw state. You can you're not sitting there jumping back and forth to mid to eve, trying to figure out patterns. You know, a lot of people like that. And I get it. You can see more patterns and stuff, but boy, it's nice sometimes and relaxing to just look at a 1 draw state and know that there's not like an even and mid. So, but let's get back over here now. So here we go. I'm going to copy these. Now, I hope you understood what I did there. It's nothing, you know, it's just sometimes to know what you're doing on this site can be hard because there's so many things. So hopefully I'm helping somebody. So I'm going to copy those ones because I think that's going to, remember, because we go back over to the recent, show one more time. You go to recent, you go to no sort, very important. We're going to keep it at 6 months for right now, which I could show you so many awesome time periods. And we're going to look for that too. That's what I'm playing for. And if a 1 hits tomorrow or a 3 hits tomorrow, okay, I lost. But you know what? I'm going to stick with the 2 because guess what? That 2 is going to hit. Look at all the 2s down here. It hits, you know. But now, if it doesn't hit tomorrow, okay, let's say it's a 1 or a 3 tomorrow, and I lose. Okay, I lost. But now I'm going to restart the day tomorrow with that same 48 numbers, but I will go and reevaluate what pairs are due, what keys are due, you know, what curve lines do, stuff like that. And then just, you know, so it's not like I'm playing the same numbers every day. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, sorry I keep opening to this page. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take you over to the slasher. See, I'll do this in here sometimes, but I'm going to take you over to this newer one I've been doing. So this one here, I'm going to load all the box. Actually, I'm not going to load the box numbers. I'm going to load my own numbers, okay? So we're going to put these in here. And actually, I think I should probably have done it. I don't think it matters because we're doing it boxed. I just want to make sure that they're boxed. Okay. So, because this is boxed. Okay. Now, I don't know why it looks like that. Let me look at that real quick. Yeah, it should be fine. I just want to make sure I copied that correct. Sometimes I think it's just because I copied it from over at that site. But you see how it's easier than a lottery post? Because lottery posts, you have to go back. Unless you have Chrome extension stuff, you're going to be freaking copying, pasting. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here now. And now I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to look at what sums are due. And I mean, you can pick between here like the most common ones, right? I would be interested in, I'd say 10 to 17, but I want to talk about this later on a different video because this sucker is due and it's going to hit. It's the most frequent one in Minnesota, like I was saying. I want to save that for a different video, but because I'm already at 13 minutes. So let me show you here. So I'll drop these in here and see you can crunch your numbers. And it gives me those 48 numbers down there. It spits those out for you. And now you can come up here and you can start throwing those filters in. So first of all, let's go to that filter that I really am interested in, curve line boxed. Okay. So we're going to do curve line, right? Because that's what it was, right? I think it was curve line. Sorry, I don't want to end up being curve line. Wow, I can't find it now. Curve line. Yeah, curve line. Okay. So now you got that put in there. I'm going to crunch that. What does that leave us with? 18. So now we're down to 18 numbers. And and it was a 677. So I feel like there's a really good chance that the keys 0, remember the lowest winning digits, especially that 1 right now, right? Because that's getting up there. Crunch that. We're down to 50. We got 15. So we're down to 15 numbers. All right. And then you can look at other things that are, you can look at other filters here too. You could try to keep it between one of those sums there. Like I would go look at my page over here to see if there's anything here, like a 12 just hit. And if you notice, a lot of times when one of those parentheses ones hit, you know, the 12 to 15, within a few days he'll hit again. So, but I don't know. I don't really like anything on here today, to be honest with you. So that's why it's nice to have these time periods to fall back on. And I'll stick with this though now. I'll stick with that, and I'm going for that too. So I can look at other things that are due. Like I said, what did I say for 5 and a 7 were due? Or a 5 and an 8? And 0 and a 1. See, I'll show you something else. This is useful. This is very useful. Check this out. So Minnesota, look at this right here. You see this? This one here equals a 0 and an 8. Okay? You can go on the site and it gives you all that under distribution and what each one of these means. But the A-tracks right here, this 4 equals a 0 and an 8. And if you notice something, look at out 4, out 2, out 4. That's the longest it's been out since it may be even longer than into November, right? So there's a good chance that that's probably going to be hitting here. And that's a 0 or an 8. So if you think a 0 or an 8 is going to hit, and come back over here, and since we're already going to do those keys there, just guaranteeing those ones. But now I'm going to actually come up here to I'm going to go back to the keys, and now I'm going to add a 0 or an 8 has to hit. One of the two has to hit. Okay. Now what are we at? Now we're at 10. That's pretty darn good. All right, now like I get into like looking now, okay, what sums are due right now? You know, I could look at that, and I already know that sums 15 is due. Let me just take a quick look at that and see what that shows, because I don't always look at sums because they can stay out for a long time and they just piss you off. 15, 19, 14, 15, 19, 13. Yeah, I'd be interested in that 13, that 14, and that 15. Okay. There's another filter that he's got. It's a special filter, and I really like this one because you can look at stuff without. Let's see. I'll show you 10 to 18. So it shows you without all the other sums, the ones that hit the most. So 15, 14, 13, 16. I'd be interested in one of those tomorrow. Okay. So, and I would go back over here to where I was and just kind of peer through here and see what's going on. But before I do that, I got to show you this too. Let me go back to this. Now we're going to go over. I'm going to show you what I found. So this is showing me a 0 or an 8 is due, right? Now I'm going to go down to, I like to check them all, to be honest with you, neighbors and all those ones. But let me show you this. This is pretty cool. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. I think I got to go to V0 maybe. Oh, sorry, I don't really use that one. I do A-tracks. I check the A-tracks. I kind of ignore all this stuff for now. I do A-tracks and the V-tracks and the neighbors. So let me go to the V-tracks one here. So let's see. There was something I noticed I really wanted to talk about. It must have been under the neighbors. Maybe I was gotta find that. I think it was this one here. Okay, yeah, it was this one. Now you'll notice it's been out 3, right? 1, 1, 1, 1. That's how this is many times it's been out. That's how long it's been out. So it hasn't hit in 3 days. Okay, now this one equals an 8 or a 9. Okay, this 5 and the neighbors equals an 8 or a 9. So what this does for me is it kind of confirms to me that an 8's going to be used tomorrow, because this equals an 8 or a 9, but on the A-tracks, that other one equals a 0 or an 8. Okay, And this confirms a little bit to me that there's going to be an 8 tomorrow, because now, even though it's been out longer, it's been out 5 draws, okay, we're still going back into November here, and possibly even longer. And yeah, it's been out a little longer, but I mean, look at it. It's been very consistently hitting since the beginning of the year here, mid-January. I mean, look at that. There's a great chance that tomorrow there's going to be an 8 or a 9, which I think is going to be the 8 that is over on the 8 tracks. There's a little bit of guesswork in that, and because it's a little bit blurry here, but I mean, I would say I'm gonna keep it the 0 and the 8, but I think, and I could add that 9 in there too if I wanted to, but I like that 8, to be honest with you. So like if I think it's gonna be the 8 and not the 0, but I always get leery of removing the 0, because that 0 is one I always keep an eye on. So I'm gonna crunch that with just the 8. Look at that. So if you think it's gonna be that 8 tomorrow, and we got 17, we got an 18, we got some 12. 17, 18, 19. There's a 19, 14, 15, 16. There you go. You got a 19 and a 16. If you remember looking at the sums, 19 and then that 16. So that's a pretty decent pick there. Now, like I said, it's a little risky maybe to remove that 0. You know, honestly, I think I'd go back in here and keep that 0. And I'd keep that 0 in there. And I'd look at these, and I'll do other stuff too here. Like I said, I'm going to show another video on V-Tracks and stuff, so I'm going to end this video. But this is just one of the things I do for time periods when it comes to as a whole, as a 3-digit combination. I'm sorry my video is 21 minutes. It's just once you start talking, you know, if you wanted to speed up the video, you could put it at 1.5 times speed or something like that. And that I do that for some videos too. It goes faster. So, but I want to show it on these V-Track stuff here in a minute, and then I gotta get to bed. But I want to really stress that these time periods, that occurrence, is super useful because it reduces your numbers. And if you can reduce your pool of numbers from 220 to 40 or 50, or with doubles 80, and fish out of that until you get a win. And if you don't get a win, and it still hits, well, you might want to stay in that pool, because if it's a good time period, it might just hit back to back. Otherwise, you know, jump over to, you know, this and check out other, you know, what's going on in my section here, and see what patterns are hitting for your state. You know what I mean? Because maybe this is showing you something. Like I was looking earlier at, and then I'm going to show this one off, and I'll make another video on V-Tracks. And I'll also throw in the front pair and how I translate it to, or convert them to straights. Well, I can't find. Here we go, Florida. I noticed that Florida is due for a V-Tracks, and it's getting up there. So anybody in Florida, I would look at V-Tracks right here, the top 10 V-Tracks. One of these is probably going to hit possibly tomorrow, midday. So, all right, I'm going to make a different video for V-Tracks. So have a good night.